Ho ho ho, and welcome to day 23. Today we're going to unveil the B2B Protocol version 3.0. This is the visual representation and flowchart of the entire B2B system that you should have in place to generate leads, nurture them, how to use emails, bookings, retargeting, absolutely everything to have a system that not only generates your leads, but it nurtures them, qualifies them, and get them ready to buy, and also what happens before the call. So what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to go through the visual flowchart, explaining every piece of the system, and we're going to tie it back to the 22 second days or previous days in this Christmas calendar, so that you get some context to what it is all about. So on my screen, I will have the B2B Christmas calendar of 2025, so the 2025 edition. And there are a lot of things that we've covered in this one, and what you're going to see at the end is going to be a bit of a spoil to what's going to come tomorrow. But we have gone through how to do market research and find your audience and basically specify who your audience is, how to build an offer, so take what you already have based on your audience and craft something that is super valuable in terms of positioning what you have. We've gone through how to prospect for outbound, so how to find your ideal customers, qualify them, how to create lead magnets, so how to create valuable educational pieces of content, guides, tutorials, prompts to do that, how to create microservices, which basically are prompt lead magnets, how to start your outbound on LinkedIn to reach out to your audience and basically start conversations and book meetings. We've gone through how to post lead magnets on LinkedIn, so how to do LinkedIn inbound to get leads off of LinkedIn to come to you instead of you chasing them. We've gone through how to build a lead nurturing system, basically using email to nurture and retarget your leads to basically have them see you more often, trust you, and build that credibility. We talked about the booking system. We talked about how to do retargeting ads, basically how to show ads to those that are already in your ecosystem. How to build a VSL, which basically is a video sales or a sales video. What to do before the meeting to prime leads to be qualified in the right state of mind and have the right mindset. How to improve lead quality by having a lead qualification system that you basically got and can copy paste. We've gone through how to enrich. So every lead that you get, how can you find as many emails and contact details as possible? How to auto segment your leads and ping your sales team based on engagement and activities, basically your own proprietary signals and not relying on third-party signals. How to run paid ads to a funnel to drive more leads, because you already at this point have lead magnets, you've posted them, they've gone viral, you have traction. Let's put more fuel to the engine. How to make micro VSLs, or just a fancy way of doing YouTube videos. How to track your sales meetings with Fireflies and make it your sales coach. How to upgrade your copywriting game. How to promptify your business, basically how to make prompts for everything you do. And how to build micro apps. So we've had in a previous or yesterday, so day 22, and I'm actually recording this on day 22. So day 22 was all about how to use Cursor to vibe code your own proprietary app. And then you have build your no-show system. And then today is the B2B Protocol version 3.0. And a bit of a tease, we're going to put all this together into Growth OS tomorrow. So this is the visual flow chart. This is the third version, a third iteration of the entire system. And there are a couple of things that are new. This is new. This has been changed. This is a new integral piece to this. And this has also been changed. So this was never here before. So this is completely new. This is completely new. This has been reworked, and this has been reworked. So there's a lot of things to dive into. But before we dive into it, there are an essential thing, and that is the core components of this. So if you are a B2B company that you're targeting other companies as your clients, there are a couple of things you need. You need to have a way to reach out to your audience, aka your outbound, and you need a way to attract your ideal customers, aka inbound. For both of these, we use LinkedIn as the primary source. We send outbound, so outreach on LinkedIn, and we post things on LinkedIn to get them in. Now, the other thing that we have is that if you reach out to people and they don't engage or they don't respond, we have a follow-up mechanism to that. So if you reach out to people, they don't follow up, what do we do then? And we have a follow-up for that. Now, the question is, how do we do these outbounds and how do we do these inbound? And if you've gone through and follow along in the Christmas calendar, in day 4, which is inbound, and day 5, which also was about it, you basically will have learned about how we reach out to people, but also how we post on LinkedIn. Because everything that we do are revolved around resources. Some educational piece of value, a golden nugget, something that is valuable to your target audience. That could be a guide, it could be some prompts, it could be a tutorial, it could be an in-depth how-to guide, it could be a tool, calculator, whatever it is, something that is valuable. It could be a webinar, it could be a case study, something that educates them at some sort of level. So all your outbound, when you reach out to people, basically link a resource. Everything you post about on LinkedIn links a resource. When you follow up people, you link a resource. So everything goes back to a resource. I know we've used some terminology called like the spider web of content, and that's really what it is. It's a series of content pieces, a series of educational how-to guides, and educational pieces of content and resources that we share. Either when we reach out to people, when we talk about them, or when we follow up people. So the resources are the core component of this. And it's through the dialogues on LinkedIn, the dialogues on email, that end up booking people. So you need to have meetings. Most likely you're not just a SaaS and you sell a service. If you are a SaaS, you can also have a booking system, but then you book demos. But ultimately you need to have a booking. Those bookings come from 2 sources, like typically, either through your dialogues on LinkedIn or through the email follow-up or dialogues on email. Or the second one is the resources. So if all the content you send are going back to the resource, it's the resource's task to educate them, but also pitch them to get them to book the meeting. Once you drive a lot of meetings, and digital meetings specifically, you will have faced the idea or the concept of no-shows. So what we have here as well is that we have a no-show system. Basically a system that follows up and tries to recoup as many of those no-shows as possible, because people can no-show for various reasons. Everything from having forgotten it to they had to run to the hospital or another meeting took precedence. So that's really it. Now, the question is, you've generated the lead, you generated the meeting, you have a lot of people that haven't converted, a lot of people that haven't booked. What do you do with them? And this is where the evergreen retargeting system comes in. And there's no one in the B2B space that talks about this in the way that we do. No one. And the reason for this, that for us, and really for B2B, the most important asset you can have is trust. And what we do is that absolutely everything that is in this engine, in this flowchart, and in this architecture is built to build trust or strengthen trust. So in the evergreen retargeting system, it is what happens after the lead, the contact, the conversation, the meeting was generated. People have basically entered your world. And this is where we have 2 pieces. We have retargeting on emails, we have retargeting on ads, and we have an auto scoring system. So based on what people engage on, people are put into 3 brackets. They're put into the cold, warm, and hot, depending on engagement and level of engagement. That has an impact on how many emails of retargeting people get, how often they get the emails, and how many ads they see in a certain time frame. So the cadence caters for the engagement level that someone has. So really, everything we have here is a way to reach out to people and follow them up if they don't respond, a way to post about something that gets people to come to you, and all of those are revolved around resources. The resources' task is to get people to book a meeting, and that's why we have the booking system. And we have a system to cater for or follow up those that no show for the meeting. And everyone we generate that are interested, are brought into this evergreen system. And the retargeting ads, the retargeting emails all link back to the resource again, which then fuels back into the booking system, and it basically goes on and on and on and on. The reason why we have this is because if people come in, they're not necessarily ready, they don't necessarily have your trust, so they don't want to book a meeting immediately, and that's why everything revolves around the resources, which is you paying it forward and giving value without necessarily asking for anything. But through the resources, you give them the option of scheduling a call. And this is the overall. Now, I want to go more in depth into this, so we're actually going to go into each of them. So let's start with outbound. And I'm going to go through, I'm going to comment on along the way. So outbound is really all about reaching out to your target audience on LinkedIn. And if you remember the Christmas calendar walkthrough we did, going through and finding your audience is day 3. So prospecting for outbound. So really, if you start with outbound, you always run the campaign. And we basically call it's a LinkedIn outreach campaign. And for us, we use get sales. And we check in the beginning of the campaign if the person was connected. If they were not connected, we tag them not connected and we send them an invite request. And then we check if they accepted within the first 5 days. If they did not, we send them to the not connected follow-up sequence, so basically the follow-up. Then we visit their profile, we like their latest post, then we check if they accepted within the next 14 days. If they did not, we visit their profile and then we check it again and again after another 14 days. If they, after that period, which is 14 plus 14, 28 plus 5, 32 days, we will not, or 33 days, we will not do anything more and we will withdraw the connection request. If they at any point from the beginning or through this process gets connected, we remove the tag not connected, we give them the tag connected, and we send the data to the web connected. Now, if they are connected, we send message 1. And as mentioned, all messages in the outbound send a link to the resource. If they reply, amazing, you're in dialogue on LinkedIn. If they do not reply, we wait 3 to 7 days, we send a second message. If they reply to that, amazing, you're in dialogue on LinkedIn and you can bring that into a meeting. If they did not reply, we wait another 4 to 7 days and then we send a third message. If they do not reply to this, we send them over to the no reply tag and webhook, which enrolls them into the evergreen sequence. So that's really it. It's we try to connect with someone. If they do not accept that within 5 days, we start reaching out to them on email. If they do, you're in dialogue on LinkedIn and you can bring them on into something more. Now, if they did not, let's say, connect with you on LinkedIn and they haven't responded, that's when we send the LinkedIn no connect follow-up emails. And this really starts by adding people into the system we have, which is Encharge. That's an email automation system. It's the best because it's so flexible, and this is how it runs. We first give people the tag not connected on LinkedIn. Then we check just to ensure that in between automations, they haven't connected on LinkedIn. So we check if they are connected. If they don't, we send an email. That email is usually something like, hey, John, I sent a connection request to you on LinkedIn because I wanted to share something that I thought would be valuable with you. Is this the right email to send that thing to? So you're asking for permission, like you're nudging and pinging them about LinkedIn connection request. And in your signature, you have your link to your LinkedIn profile. Because what happens is that if people then connect with you on LinkedIn, we don't want to send them more emails. So if they reply, amazing, we give them a tag reply to email, and you're in dialogue on email. Wonderful. If they do not reply, we bring them to the next and we check if they then connected on LinkedIn. And if they at any point are connected on LinkedIn, we remove them from basically the flow. If they have not connected on LinkedIn in between, we send them email number 2, which usually is like, hey, John, this is the thing that I wanted to share with you on LinkedIn. Here we go. And that's when you really just link a resource. You just send them the resource. Hey, here you go. It's valuable. I thought it would be something for you. Just have a good one. If they do not respond to that, we bring them to the third one. And as you can see, it's basically the same thing happening 3 times. If they, after the third email, have not replied, you have 3 options. The option 1 is that you can enroll everyone into the evergreen sequence, which basically is a retargeting on email and ads. The second alternative is that you can enroll everyone that opened the emails, so that you do not basically engage and bring in people that are not opening emails. Or you can even do the third one, which is you can enroll everyone that clicked an email. So if you clicked an email and you went to the resource, that shows intent and not just that you opened an email. That might be a better way to filter out all of those that you didn't connect with on LinkedIn, but even they engaged. So that's really the follow-up sequence. So I shortly describe, if someone doesn't connect with you on LinkedIn, we ping them about that on email, referring back to the LinkedIn connection and linking our LinkedIn profile, and we're sharing resources. So email one is just like, hey, try to connect. I wanted to share something with you. Is this the right email? Second is, hey, this is the thing that I wanted to share. Link. The third one is, hey, there was a second thing that I also thought that I wanted to share with you on LinkedIn. Here it is. And both email 2 and 3 link that resource. So that's the outbound and the inbound. So you reach out on LinkedIn and then you follow up. Fairly straightforward, right? Like, you find your audience, you reach out to them, you have a way to structure the flow and follow up. Now for the inbound. So as I mentioned, every piece of outbound and every piece of content that we do lead back to resource. So inbound is really more the explicit pitch or explicit lead generation for that said resource. And the way that this works is that we write a post on LinkedIn. So this is LinkedIn organic posting. It's just your profile, personal profile, not a business page, your personal profile. You post what we call a lead magnet post. And a lead magnet post is really just a post promoting or sharing that resource. But instead of sharing the link to the resource, you run something we call an engagement post. An engagement post is where you get people to comment something to get it. You've probably seen it. You're probably on this Christmas calendar because you've seen us do that on LinkedIn, which is, hey, we created this thing. It contains X, Y, and Z. You're going to learn X, Y, and Z. Comment the word resource, and I'm going to send it on DM. That's what we do. So if someone comments on that post, we use LeadShark to run the automation. And the automation is like this. First, send a reply to the comment on the post. So if John commented resource, it's going to reply as me, as Harold, under saying, hey, I sent it to you on DM. Then it's going to send the resource on direct message, and LeadShark is then going to export the data about the comment and the commenter and the post to a webhook. This is where we run a self-hosted backend. So this is an architecture that we set up for our clients. We can set that up for you as well. And it runs like this. First, it saves that webhook, which basically is the ID of the commenter, the comment and the post ID. We're going to save that to the database. Then it's going to process that webhook, that data into a post, a lead, and a comment. It's going to run all of those into the database again. So at this point, we have the post, we have the lead, and we have the comment. And all of them are linked. So you can then see the post on the 22nd of December 2025. You had John, Josie, and 50 other people that commented on that. And for every single lead, you can see all the comments that lead has made. So that way, you will have a database that automatically updates by having every post that you posted, which was one of these resources, and every single lead that has commented on them, and you can see how many comments they've made. Now, the next thing that it's going to do is every 10 minutes, we run a recurring loop. This is going to find all new leads. We're going to send them to get cells for enrichment, and it's going to update the status that they are being enriched in the database. Then also every 11 or 10 minutes, we're going to find the leads that are being enriched in get cells. We're going to check their status. If the enrichment is done, we're going to end, and it's going to keep on looping. If the enrichment is done, we're going to get the updated lead status and data and set that to the database. So again, this system will take everyone that comments and bring them into a system that saves all the posts, saves all the leads, enrich the leads with contact details and LinkedIn profile data, and you have an updated database. Then the question is, if we found an email on that particular someone, we will send them to the Encharge intake flow, which again starts the evergreen sequence. So if you commented on something we have, or commented on something that was posted in this structure, it will bring them automatically into sending them more resources and building more trust, because if you're interested in one thing, you're likely more interested in more stuff as well. Now, if we didn't find their email, we're going to send them to an email enrichment waterfall. And if it was found, then it's going to go back into and send it to everyone. It was not found, it's going to go back and end. Because if we don't find their contact details, we really can't do anything. So this system in itself is a bit of a proprietary flow that we built. It is able to find the email of almost everyone. Now, all of this, again, the resources will then go to the resources. And what we are able to do with the resources is a bit of tagging. So if someone viewed a resource, that's amazing. You're able to give people points. If they booked, we can also give them points. So that everyone that viewed different resources that were linked from LinkedIn or from the emails or whatever it was, we basically score them autonomously. So the more you've engaged, the higher your score. The less you've engaged, the lower your score. And it dynamically filters and segments all of your leads into 3 buckets. And that's what I want to come to next. So I do not want to go to the booking system. I actually want to go to the evergreen retargeting system. Because this is the system that basically is able to loop your audience through something that I would like to call a set it and forget it trust building system. And this has 2 parts. It has your emails and it has ads. And the reason why we do both is because we want to become omnipresent, meaning we want our audience that has engaged with us, either through us reaching out to them or us posting stuff and them coming to us. We want to show them more of our stuff. So we kind of like want to give them the rabbit hole that they can basically jump into. So if they want to, they're able to jump into that. So for emails, really I have, as you can see, there are 3 ones that are exactly the same, and that's the purpose. And this is just 3. Usually what you would like to have is 20 of these, because then you have 20 weeks of content. But really, I'm going to go through. So if someone enrolls into this, we always check if they are in the cold, warm, or hot segment. So what level of score and engagement do they have? If they are in cold, they have a 7-day delay, warm 5, and hot 2. So the frequency and cadence of people receiving content from us accelerates and grows, or it gets higher in terms of frequency, if they engage a lot. If they haven't, they're getting it at the lowest frequency. And then we send an email. All of these emails link a resource. Absolutely all of them. There are no email that explicitly pitch your service. They are just sharing things that might be valuable and interesting to them. If they open that email, click that email, or reply to that email, they all get points. So depending on, let's say, level of engagement, they get a different number of points, or gets accelerated in different, let's say, paces. Then we add a quarantine tag, and we say that, okay, that quarantine tag is removed after 30 days. This is just a protection mechanism of ensuring that people can't get the same email. So if this is email 1, they can't get that again a second time in 30 days or before after 30 days. Now, this really just repeats. So after that email, for the first email was sent, it's going to then bring it up, check what segment they're in, and then it's going to set the delay. And then after that is sent, it's basically going to do the same thing, bring it into the next one, check the delay what segment they're in, and add the delay. And this is going to then repeat for 20 emails. And the reason why you want to do that is because that gives you 20 weeks of emails if people are in the cold segment. And also, if people are in the warm segment, it gives you at least 40 days of emails. You can add more than 20, but really this system, how it works is that after someone has received the last email, it goes back and restarts from the beginning again. And that is why we have the quarantine tag. Because if someone is in the hot segment, we don't want them to suddenly loop back in. If someone then subscribes again, we don't want to bring them back into from the start. And it is that, let's say, non-spam fallback. So this is really the system. So if people engage with things, they get points. If they click some things, they get points. If they open something, they get points. And all of these emails link a resource. So everything goes back to that resource again. The resource is kind of like the heart of it all. Everything goes to the resource. Now, this is the evergreen retargeting system. And there's one thing that I then need to show, and that is the evergreen's audience sync. So you have the cold, warm, and hot, and it's depending on points. So less than 8, 8 to 20, 21 plus. And we have then a system that automatically tags them to the correct segment. So they automatically enters the certain, let's say, segment, so cold, warm, and hot, depending on the score that they have. And then we automatically update and fix the tag for them. But then this is the nice part, and that is the retargeting audience. So Facebook or Meta. So what we're able to do is that we're able to automatically sync them to a custom audience in Meta, meaning we can run an ad to them if they're in cold, warm, and hot. And that's really the ad structure. So to the ad structure, or running ads in general, a lot of people optimize for lead. We do not in this example. Really, because they're already in our lead. We already have their email. We already have their contact details. So we don't need to generate the lead again. So what we are doing is that we are optimizing for reach. So we want to ensure that every lead that we have, that we reach them. So the way that we do this is that we run a 3-tier campaign. So we have one ad campaign. And the funny thing with this is that you can run this for $5 a day. And this is some about what we shared in day 10. So it's a $5 a day with a B2B ads. We have 3 segments. We have the ad group, which is audience for cold, warm, and hot. So that's the audience which is cold, warm, and hot, which is automatically synced based on what we have over here. Now, every one of these have the same ads across the groups, but the difference is the frequency. So everyone in the cold audience and the cold ads can have a frequency cap of ads being shown 1 to max 2 times a day. The warm group has 5 times a day, and the hot group has 10 times a day. This can change depending on how aggressive you want to be, but really, given the variance of ads that you have, the likelihood of saturating with 10 is very, very low, and also the likelihood of Facebook and Meta showing the ads 10 times a day is also fairly low. Now, all of these have the same ads, and these are just ads corresponding to the 20 emails that you have in your flow. That could be 10 resources and 2 emails for each. It could also be 20 resources with 1 email for each, and then 1 ad for each of these. And again, all of these ads does the same thing. They link the resource. So now, hopefully you're starting to see it, that everything we do, either we reach out to someone new, we follow them up on email, we post something on LinkedIn, and we follow up on emails and ads, everything revolves around the resource. And now, the resources task is all about booking that meeting. And this is where we have the meeting booking system. So once a meeting is booked, you have the post booking system. So people get a confirmation email, they get a confirmation SMS, we wait some time, and we send them the first email. This is corresponding to a bit about what we talked about in day 12 of the Christmas calendar, which was the pre-meeting framing. So what can we send to our audience that helps them get into the belief that we want them to have, or have the same belief as us, so they have the same type of conviction about the solution offer that we have. So we send that, we wait 5 hours, then we check if they have completed the form, because this is one track. If we can get someone to submit the form before the meeting, that shows a level of intent and interest and engagement and willingness that does a couple of things. One, it lessens the likelihood of them actually no showing for the call. And 2, by engaging and doing more things, it's more likely that they are interested in what we have. And it indicates a level of interest. So if they have not submitted that, we send them a reminder of it. We wait 2 days and check if it's still, or if it's less than 1 day before the meeting. And if there is more than 1 day before the meeting, we can check and we can send them another reminder email. Now we have the check for days before meeting. And this is where we basically send more of those, let's say, belief emails. You can do more, you can do less. This is an example of 6. So really, you send the second email, but before each of them, you have your wait. You check if the meeting is canceled or rescheduled, so that you are following up before the right time. And this basically goes on: send an email, wait a day. Is it canceled? Is it rescheduled? No. Okay, let's send the next one. And it just goes through that until all of your pre-meeting emails are sent. One thing that we always do is that we have 3 of those, not 6, because the 3 is kind of like the baseline for us in terms of the 3 key beliefs that we need to, let's say, convey. Now, you also have the standard ones, which is 1 day before the meeting and 1 hour before the meeting, which is basically a reminder email and a reminder text. Like, hey, we have a call tomorrow. Hey, we're meeting in an hour. Here's the link. Now, this gets into a bit of the next steps. So if the meeting was canceled, you want to do a couple of things. For us, we use You Can Book Me as a booking system. And if the meeting was canceled, you want to send a webhook to our system, search the sheet or the database for email, update to canceled, send a webhook to EndCharge, add the tag in EndCharge that it was canceled, and then set a wait function for, let's say, 7 days. And then we enroll them into the evergreen. Because if someone canceled, it doesn't mean that they're not interested. It might just be that the timing was off. So we still don't want to discount them. If the meeting was rescheduled, we basically run all of the same thing. We tag them. We ensure that the updated new date is in the system, and that's that. If the meeting wasn't canceled and it wasn't rescheduled, we check if it was completed. If it still wasn't completed, we want to run them into the no-show. If the meeting was completed, it's a question of, did we book the second follow-up? If we did not book the second follow-up, it's a question of, was it lost? If it was lost, that's really the end. And you can decide if you want to run them into the evergreen sequence at this point as well, because it might be that they might come around at a later date. If it wasn't marked up lost, we want to enroll them. Now, if the meeting was booked, or the second meeting was booked, the second meeting was booked. And this is usually a more simple thing, because if you already talked to them, it was booked, it is in their calendar, they got the confirmation email, we basically just run that. And it's the same reminder 1 day and 1 hour before. Now, if the meeting was not completed, but it was not canceled, and it was not rescheduled, it's a no-show. And this is where we get the no-show follow-up sequence. So this has 3 parts to it. It has the email 1, it has the content emails, and it has the email 3. So no-show email 1 is the first thing that they send. That's usually sent something between 20 to 30 minutes after the meeting started. And it's more like, hey, I was sitting around, waiting on Zoom, waiting on Google Meets, waiting on Teams for you. You didn't show up. I guess something came up that made you preoccupied. I would love to reschedule. Here's the link. If they reply to that, amazing, you're in dialogue on LinkedIn, and then you can check if you booked the meeting number 2, or meeting again. If you did not, now you need to really build trust. So that's why we have certain types of content. So what we have is that we've created emails or content about certain things that will build trust. There could be case studies, client testimonials, reviews, those types of things, or just educational pieces of content if you don't have the case studies and testimonials that teach them about something. And what we do here is that we check if they've already been watching or seeing or reading any of these emails from before, so to avoid that they get the same thing twice. So if they watched or seen video 1 or content 1, okay, we're going to check if they've seen content 2, and so on. If they haven't gotten or seen or consumed that one thing, we're going to send the email appropriate for that. Then we're going to run a wait. We're going to check if they replied to that. If you're in dialogue, if they replied, amazing, you're in dialogue, then you can book a meeting. A meeting is booked. If they did not for that, we're going to send a no-show email too. Like, hey, we were supposed to have a meeting about a week ago. You didn't show up. If you're still interested, let me know and we can find a time. Then you wait, check if they replied. If they have replied, amazing. You're in dialogue on email, and that should be able to help you schedule the call. If they do not, we enroll them in the evergreen sequence. So this is really the structure for this all. Is you have a way to reach out to people, follow up if they do not connect and respond. You have a system to post about stuff that gets inbound leads. Everything goes to resource. If they are in your ecosystem, you have your emails, you have your ads, and you have your scoring. And everything of these link the resource. Absolutely everything. And the resource gets them to book a call. If they have not booked a call, or if they booked a call and canceled or no-showed, it's going to get them into the retargeting system, which makes them keep seeing things until they book a meeting. They book a meeting, and then obviously you have cash at the end. In terms of you take the meetings, you close them, and you have revenue. So this is really the high-level walkthrough of this full structure. This is something that we build for companies. Depending on the type of company you have, some pieces might work, some pieces might not work. And also this entire thing, it's a certain type of company that this really is relevant for and would work for, depending on what you offer, your audience, your company's structure in terms of team and internal resources and capacity. But if you want to have a personalized walkthrough of this with us to learn how this could actually be implemented in your company, where that call is really just us giving you suggestions for this is how we would do it. We would not do outbound, we would do inbound. This is the way we would do it. These are the type of resources we think would make sense. This is how we would go about the evergreen retargeting system. Or if outbound is more appropriate for a company, this is how we would do outbound. This is the follow-up. These are the types of resources. This is how we would do the booking, the pre-booking. This is how we would do the retargeting. If you want that, we would love to speak to you. And there should be a booking calendar down below on this page where you can select the time, schedule a call, and for us to have that personalized one-to-one walkthrough with you. Of course, that call is completely free. There's no obligation, there's no commitment, nothing like that. It is for us to help you. But I do have a disclaimer. If you book that call, you need to fill out a form. That form is for us to learn more about your company, the state you're at, the resources and the headcount you have, and also what you sell out to whom. That will tell us whether this system is possible for you to implement at all. And if it's not, we're going to tell you and we're going to cancel that call. The reason for that is that we don't want to invite you to have just a new shiny object, because shiny objects are the worst thing you as a founder and a company can implement, because there's no strategic reasoning why. So we don't want to waste your time on something that isn't appropriate for you to even pursue. If you are qualified, we're going to go through a call, we're going to give you the introductions to this, and you will go away from that call with a lot of ideas for how you can do things and what you should put emphasis on. If that is interesting, we would love to speak to you. Click down below, schedule the call, find a time. And also, there might not be an available time in the calendar below, so there should be a button to be able to show interest, and we're going to follow up you manually regarding that. But that was day 23 of the B2B Christmas calendar of 2025. And my name is Harold, if you haven't guessed this already. And in this Christmas calendar, I'm B2B Santa. And with that, B2B Santa checking out, and I wish you a Merry, Merry Christmas.